See, what is your question is, how do I turn inwards? Okay. The question is, who turns inwards? And what is there in inwards? So question is, how do I turn inwards is the question, right? Right now, where are you? Let me ask the question. Okay. Can you see it like this? I can see you. So the question is, in spirituality, we speak of always turn inwards. Yeah. Okay. Now let me ask you, where are you? What's your answer?
On this bigger plane called Earth, sitting in Gayatри's house, listening to my Guruji's lecture.
Okay. So when I say, where am I? Actually, it doesn't refer to physical body. It is refer to the mind. Right? Normally, where is our mind? Mind will be floating.
Thoughts, lot of thoughts.
Floating. Mind will be floating. Right? So mind always floats. Okay, for example, let me say, so I am thinking of my daughter in America. Where is the mind now?
In
America. Mind has already traveled 10,000 miles in America. No, I'm thinking of my classmate, who was my classmate 20 years back. Mind has already traveled 20 years back. Past. Okay, what will happen to my after 10 years, my health will be good or not? Mind has already traveled to future. Understand? So the mind keeps on floating in time and space. Are you clear? The mind is like a bird which keeps on going from one place to other. It will never stationary. There was a bird sitting on a ship. The bird wants to see greenery, mango fruits. It tries to fly left, north, east, west, everywhere ocean is there. And bird gets tired. It comes back and sits on the ship. And then the ship reaches the shore, then bird finds the tree. Otherwise, bird is tired, flying here and there. Our mind is constantly flying here and there. It's like a bird. But where is the body? Body is here only, but mind will be everywhere. So when I ask you a question, where are you? Which answer will you give? We'll give with respect to body. In reality, we have to give with respect to mind.
Time.
Time and space. Right? So it can travel in time and space anywhere. Continuously. Correct? So people speak of, ask the question, who am I? I'll ask the question, where am I? Am I in the present moment? Okay. Or I am in floating in time and space. Many times we are lost in thoughts, and thoughts are always related to past and future. That means we are not in the present moment. Okay. So the mind, body is in the present moment. Body is always in the present moment. Body cannot be in the past or future. Body is always in the present moment. Mind is always not in the body. Mind is always floating around in the world.
Right.
Right? So there's a disconnect between the body and the mind. Okay? Now this disconnect, if the mind is floating somewhere without the body, what is that mind called?
Wandering mind.
It's a ghost. The ghost. When we say ghost, see this terminology is no. People they actually colloquially it has become different. Ghost is a mind without a body. Host.
Right.
Understand? A ghost is mind without a body. It's called ghost. The body is the host. So most of the time we live like a ghost, floating around. The first step of journey inwards is bring that mind back into the body. Because body is the present moment of the mind. Okay? It's like bird has to be caged in the body. Mind has the past and future. Past is memories, the future is imagination. But body is the present moment. So constantly we have to learn how to bring our mind back to the body. That's the first step. How do you bring the mind back to the body? By becoming aware of our body. For example, right now all of you are sitting. Just become aware of your pressure of the seat on your buttock. Become aware of the hand. Become aware of the face. Become aware of the sensation of the body. The moment you do that, the mind has come to the present moment. Mind cannot be not in the past, not in the future. Mind is not hosting. The ghost has entered the host. That's the first step of going inwards. Correct? So now the body, when your mind has entered your body, mind outside, floating in time and space, cannot meditate. So inner journey means first bring the mind back to body. Step number one. So then when you bring the body means become aware. Sensation, feel the sensation in the body, or become aware of the heartbeat, or become aware of breath. Anything to do with the body will bring back the mind to body. Okay? That's the first step. So then become aware of, let's take the breath itself. When you become aware of breath has a movement. Everything in the world is a movement, including the body. Heartbeat, sensations, everything is a movement. So observe the breath, let's say. You're observing the breath, and people get lost in observing the breath. The purpose of observing the breath, people don't know. Let's say breath has inward movement. Breath is the inward movement. Breath is an outward movement. And breath is a pause. Okay. So in the outward movement of the breath, the mind, in the movement of the breath, the mind is moving. When the breath moves, mind moves. When the breath stops, mind stops. Okay. So now, between the pause between the breaths, the mind has stopped. Then what happened to you? The mind has merged with the witness of the breath.
Wow.
Just simple. The mind is the Shakti. Shakti is in movement, breath. In the pause between the breath, the Shakti has become one with Shiva. And Shakti has become one with Shiva. You have already transcended. But it is a very, very brief moment. Okay. Most of the time we don't catch it. We are not even aware of that. So the purpose of breath observation is to observe the gap between the breaths. In the gap between the breaths, do not conceptualize it. In the gap between the breaths, realize that I am one with Shakti. Shiva is one with Shakti. There's no duality. Similarly, become aware of sensation in the body. As you become aware of sensation in the body, you'll find the gaps in sensation. Sensations rise and fall. So rise time there's a movement, and fall there's a oneness. So as you become aware of this body sensations, breath, you start finding gaps. They're not continuous. In that gaps, there's a stillness, and that stillness is you. The more you become aware of the stillness, the more you are established in the transcendent state, naturally. So many people say, ask question, who am I? Okay. The who am I question, when you ask, what is the answer you'll get? You'll read a Vedanta and all, I am Brahman, will answer will come immediately. I am Brahman, I am Parameshwara. All these are memory-based answers. Right? Too much of the reading of Vedanta. Okay. Whatever is in memory, you are not that.
It's meant to dissolve the questioner himself.
There is no, a very simple process. Okay. Ask question, who am I? Look at it. Why you have to ask the question, who am I? Is any thought, right? Any thought which you have will come from an identity. Now, for example, Oh, where is my son? The identity is the mother. What is my husband doing? The identity is the wife. So any identity gives a thought. If there is no identity, there is no thought. Right? So I want to get liberation. The seeker identity is there.
There's an identity. How
Right?
to not have one self?
Simple. Right? Everything is coming from an identity. No identity, no thought. As simple as that. And no thought is transcendent. Are you clear? So then when you ask who am I question, don't verbalize it.
Like a mantra.
Like a mantra. Who am I is not a mantra. Who am I is just paying attention. For example, when you're sitting, I want to meditate. What's happening in the kitchen? Thoughts are coming. What will happen after my retirement? Thoughts are coming. Will I get a pension or not? That's also a question will come. So now just be aware of the identity which is giving the thought. The moment you become aware of the identity, you've already gone beyond the identity. The thought will stop. When you become aware of the identity, see, there are only two ways of something, right? When I observe something, I can identify with it, or I can be observer of that. Right? If I identify with that, I'm one with that identity. If I become aware of the identity, I'm separate from that already. Anyone? So you become aware, oh, what's happening in the kitchen? Thought is coming continuously. Which identity is this? Mother identity. The moment you become aware of that identity, you are separate from the identity. You have become Sakshi.
No.
Understand? No, I want liberation. Seeker identity. So all identity starts dissolving just when you become aware of which identity is causing the problem. Simple. There's nothing, no, you don't have to stop it.
You cannot also say it.
You don't need to. You have to just simply become aware of the identity which is causing the problem. Then you are the witness. Now, when you become the witness, right, there's still an object. Still that identity is there. Still the thoughts are there. Okay. Right? But you have to understand these thoughts are all mithya. They're appearing and disappearing. Like a wave appears and disappears. So once you understand that wave, the thoughts are appearing and disappearing from me, the Sakshi, there's no individual identity called thought. There's nothing called thought, separate entity. Thought is rising from me, the Sakshi, the consciousness, and falling back. So then there's no duality. The moment there is no duality, already transcended, you're in non-dual state. Okay. So I would give a simple advice for inward journey. Bring your attention back to the body mind complex. Simple. Become aware of sensation in the body. So people say, observe your thought. I'd say, don't observe your thought. Because thoughts will appear rapidly and it'll random. Become aware of sensations in the body. That's more predictable. It can be heartbeat, or it can be pulsing, blood flow, or it can be sensation in the body. That's more predictable.
Yes.
Don't go after thoughts. So in that thought, there's a gap in between. Say in that thought, gap in between is Shiva, and I am that Shiva.
Gap between the thoughts.
Gap between the thoughts. Not thoughts, sensations. See, gap between thoughts cannot be caught, my dear.
Right.
It's wrong advice.
Right.
Observe the thought is wrong advice. Okay. Please understand the energy movement, which is prana, which is primary. Thoughts are secondary.
Yeah.
So from prana, instead of chasing the thoughts, you go to the primary source, which is prana movement. So when you become aware of the prana movement, and in that moment, stillness is there, become aware of stillness and recognize that I am that stillness, mind will become naturally silent. This is the inner journey. Okay.
We talk about these panchakoshas, this pranamaya, manomaya, and vijnanamaya.
Anandamaya.
So what, like until vijnanamaya is quite clear, like we can breath, then we go to, I mean, gross physical.
Okay, let me, is this question, first question is answered?
Yes.
Answered? No?
More focusing on sensations of the body.